the federal government that can go on continuing resolutions, you need a budget. So I want to discuss that because I did a little bit of research to kind of find out what exactly are they fighting over when it comes to this budget. Now, if you want to comment, you can. 833-804-1140, 833-804-11. By the way, I did get one more text messages I want to share with you. Somebody goes, who is Reggie that we keep talking about? Because that's what they call it, the RGGI. They call it Reggie. It's the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, meaning it's cap and trade, where we tell somebody, okay, we're going to cap how much you can produce for greenhouse gases. We're going to cap it. And if you want to, you have to buy credits in a system that we made up in order for you to use as much electricity as you want, thus creating more greenhouse gases. And we'll arbitrarily set that number. And then anything that you go above the magic number that I made with pixie dust, you have to pay for. So they call it the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, Reggie for short. So anyway, thought I'd share that with you. Okay, now let's get into this, shall we? The budget. We've been talking about the budget for so long. We don't have a budget. When are we going to get a budget? Where is this budget? When is the budget's going to come through? So what exactly is going on with the budget process? We'll talk with Tom Garrett, member of the House of Delegates, but I do want to pass this along to you because I don't know if a lot of people understand exactly what the fight is about when it comes to the budget. Louise Lucas in the Senate says, we want this. Don Scott and the governor say, we want that. And the two of them have been fighting ever since. Louise Lucas has been throwing shots on social media, calling Abigail Spanberger the data center diva. She has other names she wants to call over to Don Scott because they all can't get together. Again, when you have one party rule, these are the things that you have happen. So here's what they're arguing about. It's about $1 billion. No, not the $1 billion that they're going to get for the greenhouse gas initiative. This is another $1 billion they want to fight over. There's about $1 billion difference between what the Senate wants to spend and what the House wants to spend and what the governor wants to spend. So what are they really fighting over? Where is the $1 billion that they're looking for? What do they want to use it for? It goes back to something bigger than just our budgets here in Virginia. They want to spend money on K through 12 education, okay? That's something that they always fight over. How much money do we spend on education? There's also $120 million that the Senate wants to spend that the House didn't approve to go to, wait for it, guess, wait for it, Affordable Care Act health insurance coverage. What? Yes, our budget's being held up by the Senate wanting more support for K through 12 education. Pretty normal, but it's really being held up by Affordable Care Act health insurance coverage. Meaning, we talked about this. We talked about the ACA during the American Rescue Plan and the Inflation Reduction Act. This goes back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden's administration took Obamacare, took all the rules off that said this is good for people. This is going to be for people that can't afford health care insurance. We're going to try to help them. But then we're going to have emergency powers that during the COVID, when people lost their jobs, we'll subsidize those. But we've taken the caps off who can get into Obamacare. It used to be that you're at a certain level, and once above that, you weren't eligible for any of those subsidies. Then we took those subsidies away, so people making $200,000 a year jumped into the Obamacare pool, knowing that they got temporary subsidies. But once you give somebody something, you can't take it back. When they took it back, all these people are screaming, wait a minute, you're taking away my insurance. Well, you had your insurance. You had temporary help during COVID. It wasn't permanent, but now they scream and yell. And those people that are screaming and yelling are now looking to the Commonwealth of Virginia to subsidize the temporary subsidies they got during COVID. That's what we're fighting over. Oh, by the way, we're not fighting over spending that money. We're fighting over how to pay for that money that they want for K through 12 education and the money that they want to give to people to extend their temporary Obamacare subsidies through the Affordable Care Act health insurance coverage. The governor and the House want to take your money through a couple of different ways. They're talking about increased collection of non-withholding taxes, the personal income taxes due on investment gains for businesses and farm holdings. So let's go stick it to business people, and let's go stick it to the farmers. That way we can pay for these projects that the Senate Democrats want. Now, the governor has suggested increasing the consumption tax, basically a sales tax on electricity the data centers currently pay. Most residential customers pay, 0.1595 cent per kilowatt, while the big users, including the data centers, pay 8.75 cents per kilowatt under the rates that took place in 2001. The governor's thinking about, well, maybe we'll just raise the electric rates on everybody to pay for Affordable Care Act health insurance for people that had a temporary subsidy for Obamacare, and now they expect everybody else to pay for it, even though a lot of them were wealthy enough to buy regular insurance, but they jumped into it because it was cheaper during COVID. Now, what Louise Lucas wants to do is get rid of the sales tax exemption that we granted to data centers to bring them to Virginia. So what happens in these data centers are all these servers. It's a big warehouse full of servers. It gets really hot in there because of all the electricity they're using to store all this information. Every website, every app you have, your phone, they all run through these data centers. That's where all the information for all your video games, you play Candy Crush, it's somewhere inside a data center. Because there's so much going on when you get on ChatGPT and you're on Google, all the rest of that, it burns a lot of circuits and boards and things like that because they are used so much. It gets so hot in there. Those things are just constantly being recycled, pushed out, redone, replaced. And what we've done is we have suspended the sales tax because they've got to buy new blades for their servers, new components for their servers constantly, changing them out daily, weekly. So instead of charging a sales tax every time they buy those, we waive that sales tax to make it an incentive for them to come into Virginia. Now, they do pay other taxes, just not the sales tax you and I pay, in order to attract them to come to Virginia. And they brought a lot of jobs with them. Not as many jobs and different jobs than people would think when you build a big factory, but they have brought all this in here. We made that commitment to these companies, and that's why Virginia is known as the internet capital of the world. There's other people that love to have these data centers as well in Europe, China, and all over the place, but we have kind of made this one of the emerging industries here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. She wants to take all that away. We made a promise to business. We made a promise to this industry. Here's where you come. You'll get that break. Please come to Virginia. We have license plates that say the internet capital of the world. She wants to do away with all of that. What for? More money, K through 12. And by the way, let me just ask you, how good is the education here? How much are we holding people accountable for the test scores we have? And you want to give them more money? Oh, and she wants that money for the Affordable Care Act subsidies that were temporary that people now come to depend on, even though they knew they were temporary in the very beginning. That's what we're fighting. That's what our budget's being held up by Louise Lucas and Abigail Spanberger. It's not like one side's like, hey, let's not spend as much money. They both want to spend the money. They're just trying to figure out how to get more money out of your pocket to pay for their pet projects. It is absolutely amazing. The more I look into this, the more I see how dysfunctional our government is here in Virginia. And when you have one party and there's nobody to hold them accountable, you get squabbles like this that's taken them so long. And by the way, what's today, the 9th? They have until the end of the month. They have to have the budget done by July 1st. The governor says we're going to get it done in a couple weeks, couple days, whatever. Either way, we're either going to get stuck by severely crippling an industry that we said we are going to look to build the economy of Virginia, or they're going to stick it to you with higher rates with your electrical bills on top of the greenhouse gas initiative, or they're going to take it out of the pockets of farmers and business people from non-withholding taxes for personal income taxes due to investment gains, which means, hey, go invest and get in the stock market and try to build your future. We're just going to take more of that. Or, hey, farmers, I know there's a drought right now. We'll just take more of that. It's take. And what do you get out of it? Ask yourself. You want to comment? That's what this fight's over. I didn't understand the fight. I didn't understand what the two were going back and forth over all of this. But when it comes down to, you're holding up the budget because you want to give subsidies that were temporary, permanent status off the backs of the Virginia taxpayers? No. What do you think? 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. We'll continue with you. I'm Rich Herrera. Thanks for joining us here on The Voice of Virginia. I bring all that up because we're going to talk with Tom Garrett a little bit later on the program, but I just wanted to share that with you so you exactly understand why they're holding this up, what they're fighting over, and why we don't have a budget. And when we get the budget, guess who it's going to cost? It's going to cost you and I, either through our electrical bills going up, or we're going to lose an industry that brings in billions of dollars of taxes into this Commonwealth. Either way, I think we lose. Again, you can send your text message into us, 833-804-1140. Let's remind everybody, the program today is brought to you apart by Loan Pronto. Here's their number, 804-535-3860, 804-535-3860. So, are you tired of getting those telephone calls? Are you tired of looking at your credit card bill and